And so silver is depleting and expanding. And the real price hasn't been really determined for years because the West has been suppressing it to make high-tech weapons, to be the most dominant superpower militarily in the world. And so maybe that's why India and other countries like Russia, China is the second largest producer in the world, and they're flying all around South America, namely Peru, and buying up all of the doré and concentrate, which is disintermediating the markets. No one knows how much they're buying. They're paying double what the West will and refining it back in China. Russia's buying it for their strategic stockpile, the first government to admit it. And India has bought 900 million ounces in the last 4 or 5 years. That's more than the COMEX and the LBMA combined. So do they know what's going on with you? Bet your ass they do. They know exactly what we're doing and have been doing, and they're using it against us.
Now, we present the clips of Andy Schectman's insights from his recent interview. Before we continue to discuss this, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell icon for timely updates. Join our WhatsApp channel for real-time updates, breaking news, and expert predictions on gold, silver, and financial markets. Link in the description or pinned comment. Stay ahead of the curve. Don't miss out.
Silver right now, it's going to be closed. Looks like it closed at $33. So that's the line in the sand that they've been defending. Yep. Could this be the beginning of a run in silver? Man, it's long overdue. You know, the little boy who cried wolf, the wolf does come. And yes, someone said, was it me? I was, to my knowledge, I was the first one to talk about silver having a 500-ounce amount of silver in the cone of a Tomahawk cruise missile, long before Silver Wars came out, and John Forrest Little and all these other people talking about it. I talked about it 3 years ago in Vancouver at a conference, and I was approached by a man after the speech. Kind of freaked me out. I was like, yeah, I work for the DOD. And he's like, I helped design the Patriot and the Tomahawk. And he's like, I know there's some silver in it, but I don't think there's that much. Let me get back to you. Comes back, and I don't hear from him again. This is Jay Martin's Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. I've been there 3 years in a row. Last year, which would be the second year, he's there in the audience again. Yeah, you remember me, shows me all these pictures. You're right. There's between 13 and 14 kilograms in every Tomahawk and lots of these other high-tech missiles. So ask yourself, why would 8 commercial banks hold the largest concentrated short position in any commodity ever traded in the history of the COMEX, that being in silver, the tiny little silver market? It's because they need to keep it cheap and off the radar so they can build weapons to fund wars all around the world. And, you know, when we confiscate $5 billion in Russian Forex reserves, we didn't give it to them purely in cash. What did we give it to them in? Oh, yeah, weapons that they bought from who? The military industrial complex. That's owned by who? BlackRock. And who got all the reconstruction contracts? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's BlackRock. And so you look at who are all the weapon manufacturers? BlackRock owns them all. And so this is deeper than people have given any credit to. And BlackRock and the military industrial complex and all of these Raytheon and Boeing, all of these massive military companies that need silver to make aerospace, submarines, and high-tech weapons, they all need silver. This dude said to me, you are right. There are 500, almost exactly 500 ounces in the cone. And, you know, and then John Little and the Silver Wars guys have done a great job of showing how much silver is in other applications. I give them credit. But nonetheless, I think anything high tech these days. Look, in 1942, there is S.2768. Google it. It's a congressional hearing where they say by next year, we will need 200 million ounces a year. Currently, it's 100 million ounces a year for war purposes. By next year, 200 million. In 42, for God's sakes. Well, how much more advanced are these weapon systems now? And they all need silver in the guidance systems and whatnot. So, yeah, it's this is why silver's been suppressed. But as I've said a million times, you can only suppress or manipulate a market by pushing in the direction it's going, especially for an extended period of time. Well, for a long period of time, no one wanted commodities. They just wanted US dollars and treasuries and real estate, and, you know, because that was safe and lucrative. And since 1982, since rates have been falling, been going straight up. Well, that's changed. And now, not only is there a drive to get gold and silver, which gold is the only other tier 1 asset in the world, but they've lost globally faith in the West, whether it be England or the EU or the United States. So all of these players are taking their toys and going home. Give me my medal. I don't want to leave it with you anymore. India just brought 100 metric tons home from the Bank of England that they've held since 1991. They're bringing all their toys home, not only from the U.S., but also the Bank of England. And this is no longer about we trust you. It's about show it to me. And that's where things get really interesting very quickly. So I think this will be a very interesting year, more so than people expect. I think it could be really, really kind of frightening, exciting, interesting to say the least, but that is a Chinese curse,
In the interview, Andy Schectman highlights the severe imbalance in the gold and silver markets.
He points out record-breaking outflows, including 70 million ounces of silver from the LBMA and $4 billion in gold deliveries on COMEX. The amount of gold stored in the London vaults at the end of February fell by 0.7% month-on-month to 8,477 metric tons, its 5-year low, and was worth $772.5 billion, the LBMA said. In January, the London holdings dropped by 1.7%. In recent months, supplies to the U.S. have come from London, the world's largest over-the-counter gold trading hub, Switzerland, and other major hubs. Ultimately, Schectman suggests the U.S. might be secretly pulling gold from London under the cover of tariffs. He points to J.P. Morgan's control over GLD and recent gold withdrawals as signs of banks securing real metal. He also hints at Trump pressuring the Bank of England, possibly paving the way for a gold-backed monetary shift. The governor of the Bank of England has said recent U.S. trade policy poses substantial risks to the U.K. and the world economy. Let's get back to the interview.
If you look at, for example, in London, they have 279 million ounces of gold on paper, of which only 36 million are available. That means of the 279, only 36 million is not spoken for by entities like ETFs or the Bank of England. And they have that 36 million sitting against 380 million ounces in spot contracts that could stand for delivery. So they're 11 times, almost 11 times more paper than there is physical. And in silver, it's even worse. There's 270 million ounces of silver. They call it the float, and they're trading 2.9 billion ounces of silver per day, 3.5 times the annual global mine supply. So what's been happening? The single biggest monthly outflow in the history of the LBMA in silver just happened this month, 70 million ounces by, and they have drained all this gold that's been coming out. And originally it was called the Trump tariffs. They're lying about that. They're trying to make London think, yeah, it's just exchange for physical. It'll come back because they have something called exchange for physical, where you can take either an LBMA contract or a COMEX contract. They're both fungible. I'll take the COMEX contract. I'll give it to the bank in London. They'll get the cash. They send me the metal. Well, London is a T+1 settlement, meaning you make that trade on Monday. By Wednesday, the metal should be on its way to you. T+1. T is Monday. 1 is the settlement day. Tuesday, Wednesday, the metal's available. It's now T+8 to 9 weeks. It's a default. Even though they've delivered all of this gold since November, now they're like, oh, shit. Maybe this isn't just tariffs. Maybe this isn't what we think it is. They are trying to perhaps expose the frailty of a rehypothecated scam that they've been able to perpetrate on all of us and the miners and everyone else for a very long period of time by overwhelming the leverage with paper. 90% paper, 10% physical. No one stood for delivery. Well, guess what? Now you're seeing massive deliveries, to the point where we've seen the largest delivery in the history of the COMEX market ever on the February contract of almost 6 million ounces, surpassing the previous high by 1.2 million ounces. We saw JP Morgan deliver 4 billion in gold for a customer to the COMEX in February. Who's that customer? Who's got $4 billion to buy? And then again, the largest single monthly outflow of silver, 70 million ounces. Boom, goodbye. So all of a sudden, the LBMA is like, oh shit, we have a problem. They're trying to tell us it's trucks and manpower. Not enough trucks, not enough manpower to get. Oh, really? It takes you 9 weeks, the Bank of England, to come up with trucks and manpower after you've already seamlessly delivered all this stuff? No, they've defaulted in essence, and they're afraid of what could really happen if one of these banks blows up, because they're massively leveraged. Now, the rumor is that the Western banks here in the U.S. have gone long, leaving those banks exposed, and Trump is trying to blow up the Bank of England. And because he's mad about all that they've tried to do to him, including, we're not going to protect you anymore unless you pay your fair share. And now we control interest rates, not you guys. And guess what? You guys are in big trouble if you think that you're going to continue to run this facade, because now we're going to become net importers of gold and silver. We're not going to tell you that what we're really doing. We're going to call it tariffs. And guess how close you are to blowing up the Bank of England and these banks. Now, is it true? Not saying it is. I'm just saying there's a rumor. All I'm saying is, and I'll equate this to what has happened in the last 4 years to all of us. If you do not question everything you've learned, nothing. 16 tons of left, and that real metal is being pulled out. And who knows what's happening to it? I mean, Maybe that's what Trump said to Jamie Dimon. This is what I need you to do. Now that you're taking over custodian, let's just start to bring all this gold home, because most of it's been held in London, and let's use it for American interests. So could it be that that's what he's doing? Absolutely, it could be. I think it's far more than tariffs.